Imagine a room so quiet you can hear the ice forming on the walls of your own heart, a space where the air is heavy with the weight of things left unsaid and touches left ungiven. We are moving beyond the typical dry spell or the common ebbs and flows of long-term partnership. We are entering the absolute zero of the narcissistic dynamic. This is the moment when the biological and spiritual currency of the relationship has been officially devalued to zero. We are asking the big haunting question: what happens to a predator when the sexual reset button is broken from both sides? Why does this specific silence feel like a death sentence for their ego, but a slow, rhythmic resurrection for your soul? The truth is colder than the bed you're sleeping in. Picture a cinematic thriller where the camera pans across a sleeping couple, revealing that the person inches away is actually a hollow vessel, a biochemical ghost inhabiting a familiar body. For the narcissist, the bedroom was never a sanctuary for love or mutual vulnerability. It was a battlefield of validation and a laboratory of control. They used the act of intimacy as a digital remote control to hijack your nervous system and bypass your logic. It was the chemical glue that kept you stuck in the fog after they'd spent the day tearing you down. But now, that glue has dried up and crumbled into dust. You are both lying there in the dark, and for the first time, the power grid of the relationship has gone completely dark. You've likely spent months, perhaps years, living in a state of sexual poverty, begging for crumbs of affection that were strategically withheld to keep you subservient and desperate. The narcissist used withholding as a lethal weapon, a way to make you feel less than, unattractive, and fundamentally flawed. But then, a psychological plot twist occurred within the deep chambers of your own heart. You stopped asking. You stopped initiating. You stopped caring if they ever looked at you with desire again. This is the moment the trauma bond begins to fray at the edges. When the host stops seeking the parasite begins to starve in the silence of its own making. Most survivors don't realize that their pursuit of intimacy was the primary energy source for the narcissist's grandiosity. They didn't want to make love to you, they wanted to be desired by you. Your longing was their proof of divinity, the evidence that they possessed a gravity you couldn't escape. By stopping your efforts, you have effectively cut the funding to their ego. We are breaking the silence on this transition today, exploring the secret knowledge that no one tells you about the end-stage narcissist. We are looking into the gaze of the void, the way the narcissist's face contorts when they realize they can no longer move the needle of your desire. The hunter is now invisible. Think about the visceral contrast that defines this Cold War. Moments ago, in the timeline of the abuse, they were the commander of the sheets, deciding when you were worthy of warmth. Now, there is a wall of sovereign stillness between you that they cannot penetrate. The narcissist has effectively unplugged from your energy field, and because they have no internal peace, they are left standing in a spiritual vacuum. They have no use for a partner who cannot be provoked by rejection or seduced by breadcrumbs. To them, your indifference is a form of psychological treason. They are preparing to escalate because they cannot tolerate a world where they don't have access to your nerves. The haunting question remains: how can the end of intimacy be the ultimate weapon that destroys their carefully curated mask? This is the core of the narcissistic addiction to dominance. The narcissist uses the sexual reset to make you forget the devaluation that occurred hours before. It is the anesthesia of the abuse cycle, the chemical hit that keeps you from leaving. Without it, you are forced to see the raw, ugly truth of their behavior without the rose-colored tint of dopamine. You are no longer sedated, which means you are finally awake. The narcissist knows that if they cannot drug you with the cycle of pursuit, they cannot keep you in the cage you've outgrown. You are here because you are sensing that the power shift has already happened deep within your biology. You are tired of being a pianist of panic, playing the notes of desperation they demand on the strings of your own nerves. You are realizing that your stillness is not numbness, it is reclaiming the throne of your own body. The narcissist is a frequency hunter, and they have lost the signal to your desire. They want you to stay in the fog, believing that your lack of libido is proof that you are the cold one. But I am here to tell you it is the ultimate proof of your survival. You are no longer a reflex for their ego, you are a choice, and they are terrified of your autonomy. The narcissist's panic when you both stop making love is a weaponized insecurity. Because they cannot provoke you into a state of begging, they are forced into a state of internal collapse. They will try to poke the wound one last time, perhaps by being overtly disgusting or cruelly distant, just to see if the old machine of your reaction still works. But when the machine remains silent, the narcissist experiences a total system failure. They have turned your life into a theater where they were the director, but suddenly, the lead actor has walked off the stage and turned off the house lights. They are left screaming in the dark, and for once, there is no one there to applaud or fear them. Stay with me, because we are about to peel back the skin on why this sexual standoff is the ultimate form of psychological warfare. We are moving past the feel-good illusions and into the clinical reality of why they need your desire to feel human. This isn't just a story about a dry marriage, it's a documentary of a predator losing their primary siphoning tool in real time. You need to understand the mechanics of their escalation and their desperation if you ever hope to maintain this ground and escape the web. The narcissist wants you to believe your stillness is apathy, but I am here to tell you it is power. It is the standard operating procedure of a soul that is free. The exposure begins now. Don't look away, even if the silence in your home feels heavy enough to crush the breath from your lungs. The haunting question of why they turn to malignant rage when you turn to ice is about to be answered with such blunt force that the chains of your remaining trauma bond will begin to crack. You are not broken for stopping the lovemaking. You are a human being who has reached the limit of the illusion. We are going to deconstruct the panic of the predator, paragraph by paragraph, until you see them for what they really are, a frantic scavenger holding a broken remote control, screaming at a television that has finally been disconnected from the wall. To understand the narcissist's internal chaos, we must first analyze the neurochemistry of the harvest. For the narcissist, intimacy was never about a union of souls. It was a psychological breather designed to keep the host alive just enough to be siphoned again. Think of it as a reset button for the abuse. When they hurt you, they used the bed to sedentary your logic and restart the clock on your patience. It was a chemical hijacking where oxytocin was weaponized to blur the lines of their cruelty. But without this release, the toxicity has nowhere to go. It begins to back up into their own system like a clogged sore, poisoning their grandiosity. They can no longer drug you. Imagine a house where the power lines have been cut, but the phantom lights of the narcissist's ego are still trying to flicker. Sexuality was the electricity they stole from you to keep their false self illuminated. When both sides stop making love, the narcissist enters a spiritual blackout. They are forced to face the internal darkness they have been running from their entire life. This is the dirty habit of the scavenger. They cannot generate their own light, so they must scavenge it from your reactions. Without the high of the sexual cycle, they become biologically irritable. They are withdrawal junkies in a room full of mirrors that show nothing but an empty shell. The narcissist's hidden motive in withholding sex was always the maintenance of hunger. They wanted you starving, so you would be grateful for the scraps of their attention. But the biological bill reveals the flaw in this strategy. Eventually, the starving host desensitizes. By stopping the pursuit, you have killed the game. The narcissist is now sexually doomed because they have lost the power of the prize. They are bankrupt in a world that demands authentic connection to survive the cold. They hate you for making them feel like a loser who can no longer seduce the prey. They are forced to face the cold, dark truth of their own neurotic obsolescence. Use the cinematic metaphor of a draining battery. The narcissist's life force was always stolen energy. They never learned to generate their own peace or self-worth. Now that the sexual reset is gone, their system is dimming rapidly. They are flickering toward a permanent dark. The price of lust was the total erasure of their real self years ago. They are trapped in a body that they hate because it no longer commands the room or captivates the audience. They are at war with their own flesh. They might spend fortunes on appearance, but they are just painting a rotted foundation. The internal rot is the final argument of their life. Their internal chaos is a feedback loop of shame. Because they used sex as a weapon rather than a gift, they are haunted by a deep physical loneliness they can never admit to anyone. They are self-grooming their own destruction. Every time they withheld intimacy from you, they were severing a nerve in their own ability to feel real or connected. Now, they are anesthetized to the very intimacy they once used as a tool of control. They are starving for a hit of your energy, but the needle is broken. The price of greed is the total erasure of connection. They are becoming a living ghost in a world of flesh, wandering through a graveyard of desires. Let's talk about the metabolic cost of the mask. Maintaining the false self requires an incredible amount of psychological fuel every single day. Sex was the primary fuel grade for the narcissist. It gave them the high-octane grandiosity to look down on the world and feel superior. Without it, their engine begins to sputter and stall. They become haggard, gray, and haunted by their own reflection. They are suffering through a systemic ego collapse that is being mirrored in their failing physical health. They look in the mirror and don't see a great seducer. They see the pathological scavenger who has run out of supply. The hunt has turned inward. There is a visceral predatory fatigue that defines this sexual silence. The narcissist is tired of the performance, but they are terrified of the truth that lies beneath the mask. They have created a life where control is the only currency, and now the market has crashed completely. Their history of disposable intimacy has left them with a shattered attachment style. They can't be with you, but they can't bear to be alone with their own thoughts. They are in a state of permanent withdrawal from a supply that is never coming back. They are addicts whose drug of choice, your desperation, has been discontinued by your sovereign stillness. Why is this so hypnotic to watch from the outside? Because it is the moment the predator becomes the prey of their own internal void. The narcissist who once owned the atmosphere of the home is now suffocating in your peace. They are haunted by the fact that they can no longer command your pulse or direct your desire. Their power was a parasite that lived on your panic, and now that the panic is dead, the parasite is starving to death. They are reaching for the light in your eyes, but all they find is a clinical reflection of their own emptiness. They are sexually and emotionally doomed because they cannot feed on a soul that is still. You need to understand this so you can maintain the line when they try to pull you back in. Their panic is not love. It is not regret. It is the terror of the thief who has been caught with empty pockets and a broken bag. They are grieving the loss of their battery, not the loss of you. When you stop providing the energy they crave, they don't self-reflect, they self-destruct or escalate. They are wired for the hunt, and without the hunt, they are nothing. The stillness is the diagnostic tool that proves they never cared for you, they only cared for the flinch. The exposure of this hollowness is your final empowerment. We are moving into Chapter 3, the dramatic turning point. This is where the panic turns into escalation, and the stillness becomes your ultimate weapon. We will explore what happens when the narcissist realizes the old tools are broken and tries to burn the house down in a last-ditch effort to feel significant again. The thriller is reaching its peak, and the secret knowledge is about to become your sovereign shield. The predator is about to discover that the energy they siphoned through your longing was the only thing keeping them human. Without it, they are just static in the hallway, fading into the blackness of their own void. The dramatic turning point begins with the recognition of the glitch. It's the moment the narcissist tests the fence of your heart and finds it electrified with boundaries. They enter the room with their standard menacing aura, expecting the standard flinch of desire or the begging eyes, but the system returns a 404 error, supply not found. Watch the cinematic shift in their eyes as they process the failure. There is a second of total disorientation. Their script has been deleted from your memory. They have rehearsed their rage or their seduction, but the audience has left the building. This glitch is the beginning of their final ego death. When the standard seduction fails to elicit a reaction, the narcissist enters the escalation loop. They will flaunt a new supply in your face or openly discard your dignity, waiting for the flinch of jealousy to prove they still have power. They are looking for a sign of life, any pulse of pain that tells them they still matter to you. But your stillness is absolute. You are seeing the gears of the machine working desperately. You are observing the predator like a scientist watching a captive animal. This clinical gaze is the ultimate insult to their God complex. You are declassifying them from terrifying ruler to pathetic specimen. This is the psychological power shift that the narcissist cannot survive. They realize that their power was a mirage that you projected for them through your hope and loyalty. By stopping the lovemaking, you have withdrawn the projection entirely. They are now invisible and insignificant. They will try to provoke you with blatant disrespect or cruel insults, waiting for the old you to cry or defend. But the sovereign stillness is silent. You have transcended the theater of abuse. You have exited the performance. The narcissist is left screaming at a screen that has gone black. They are suffering from their own irrelevance. The narcissist turns to bizarre, nonsensical behavior to regain a foothold in your mind. Because the standard script is broken, they start ad-libbing with desperate nonsense. They might cry 1 minute and rage the next, or clean the entire house as a pity play for attention. They are throwing everything at the wall to see if anything sticks. This is the end stage of the power struggle. They are fighting for their life because your longing was their life support. Without it, they are choking on the thin air of equality. They cannot breathe in a world where they are not the center. The glitch has revealed the coward. The plot twist for you is the realization of your own invincibility. You look at them and feel pity instead of panic. This shift in emotion is the final nail in the trauma bond. Pity is the antithesis of power. When you pity the predator, they lose their teeth instantly. They are sexually and emotionally emasculated by your lack of reaction. They are begging for your anger because anger is still a form of energy. But indifference is the void. You have handed them the void, and they are falling into it helplessly. The sovereign stillness has become their executioner. You are finally free of the game. Let's talk about the death of the mirror. The narcissist lived through the mirror of your eyes for the duration of the relationship. When you desired them, the mirror told them they were powerful and attractive. Now, the mirror is still and clinical. It shows them the ugly truth. They are an empty vessel who needs you to feel real. They are hollow. They are static. They are boring. This boredom is the deadliest threat to the narcissist's psyche. They would rather be hated than boring. By stopping the lovemaking, you have diagnosed them as boring. You have stripped them of their infamy. They are just noise. The narcissist's panic manifests as physical agitation that they cannot hide. They cannot sit still in the silence. They cannot stay in the room with your indifference for more than a few minutes. They are pacing, fidgeting, and muttering to themselves in the hallway. They are experiencing the internal rot of irrelevance. They have lost the anchor of your desire, and they are drifting into narcissistic mortification. They are mortified that they no longer command the atmosphere of the house. They are drowning in the silence they used to weaponize against you. The stillness is a mirror of their nothingness. They will try to sabotage your peace with a new crisis designed to demand your focus. They will create a financial disaster, a social scandal, or a medical emergency. They are fishing for a flinch in the form of attention. This is the scavenger's last stand. They are burning the village to get your eyes to turn toward them one last time. But you are awake. You see the calculated nature of the crisis for what it is. You provide minimal necessary action with zero emotional investment. You are the sovereign stillness in the eye of the storm. They are realizing that they are dead air. Why is this so shocking for them to experience? Because it is the final proof that their Keiku-san, power, was always just a consensus. It was a Pajanjian agreement that you made back when you were still lost in the kaboot, fog. Now that you have Minoric consensus, withdrawn your consensus, the Pajanjian is Batal Demi Hukum, null and void. The narcissist is a contractor without a contract. They have no kedudukan hukum, legal standing, in your jiwa, soul. They are an intruder. Your detachment is an eviction notice. They panic because they have no internal home. We are moving into Chapter 4, the collapse and the consequences. The narcissist's internal panic is about to become a social reality that they cannot escape. We will explore how their loss of control leads to public decompensation and total system failure. The tone is getting darker, harsher, and brutally truthful. The narcissist is about to face the ultimate consequence of a life built on theft and terror. They are about to discover that when you rule by the hunger, you die by the indifference. The thriller is reaching its final act, and the scavenger has run out of shadows. The stillness is your victory. The collapse of the narcissist is a slow-motion cinematic horror show that takes place in the grey room of their own isolation. It begins with the total loss of the narrative. Without your longing to anchor their grandiosity, the narcissist begins to decompensate in public. They become erratic, bitter, and pathologically needy. They smear you to anyone who will listen, but the smear is lazy and transparent to anyone with eyes. They are losing the mask because they no longer have the energy to perform for an indifferent audience. They are unraveling in front of the world, and the pity people feel is the end. Watch the social consequences as the narcissist's loss of control becomes common knowledge. They lash out at waiters, cashiers, and strangers just to see if they will flinch. They are scavenging for supply in high-risk environments. They are acting out like a child in a world of adults. People begin to withdraw from them, not out of hate, but out of exhaustion. They are boring and toxic. The flying monkeys start to drift away as the drama becomes redundant and pathetic. The narcissist is left alone with the stillness they tried to murder in you. It is their sarcophagus. The internal panic for the narcissist feels like drowning in shallow water. They double down on the aggression as their only coping mechanism. But the impact is zero. They are screaming at a mountain. They are hitting a cloud. They are experiencing the internal rot of irrelevance. They are starving for a hit of your energy. They are developing a tolerance to their own rage. They need darker acts, louder screams, and crueler betrayals just to feel a spark. They are descending into a soul of the self. It is a visceral, clinical collapse. They are consuming their own humanity. The tone here is dark and harsh because the truth is brutally ugly. The narcissist has sexualized their own destruction. They have turned the house into a crematorium for their own legacy. They are mourning the seducer they used to be, while embracing the scavenger they have become. They are haunted by the ghost of your energy, which they murdered with their own excess. Every aggressive entrance is a nail in the coffin of their power. They are alone with the static and the silence. They are bankrupt in a world of sovereign stillness. They are a digital zombie in a world of living souls. Let's talk about the death of the ego boost. In this phase, the narcissist's provocations fail to provide the supply they need to survive. They slam the door, but you don't even look up. They insult your character, and you check your watch. This lack of reaction is the ultimate mortification. They are fading into the background. They are background noise in the symphony of your life. They are obsolete technology in a world of authentic connection. The stillness has snapped shut on the dealer. They are trapped in their own empty laboratory, surrounded by their broken spells. The narcissist turns to reckless exhibitionism or overt discard to provoke you. They might flaunt a new supply in your face, waiting for the flinch of jealousy that never comes. But you are sovereign. You look at the new victim with deep compassion and total indifference to the narcissist. This refusal to compete is the end for them. If you don't fight for them, they don't exist in your world. They are deleted from the competitive narrative. They are exposed as a small, pathetic creature who has to buy supply through deception. They are alone with the rot. They are nothingness. The social consequences are final. The reputation they worked so hard to curate is shredded by their own panic. They are the unstable one in the family. They are the problem employee. They have lost the privilege of respect. This is the absolute discard by the universe itself. The narcissist is trapped in a feedback loop of internal scorn. They hate themselves more than you ever could, and the sovereign stillness has become their prison cell. They can't wash away the stain of their own obsolescence. They are soaked in the soul of the self. They are drowning in the void. Use the cinematic metaphor of the sinking island. The narcissist is standing on a piece of land that is dissolving into the sea. They are screaming at the tide, but the water doesn't care. The energy they siphoned through your longing was the only thing that anchored them to reality. Now that the anchor is gone, they are drifting into the abyss. Your stillness is the ocean that is swallowing their island. They are screaming, but there is no sound. He or she is released from your life, but they are not free. They are captured by their own static. They are an ego suicide. Why is this so painful for them? Because it shatters the myth of the narcissist who always wins. We see them for what they are: hungry, addictive, small, and alone. Your desire is the high price you once paid for your soul, and now you stop paying. It is bankrupt in the currency of life. You are the winner because you refuse to drown in its infection. You walk out of that gray room and into the sun. The scavenger is left eating the dust of his own shadow. He is done. He is the stale, dusty past. We are moving into Chapter 5, the final truth and the cinematic closing. This is where we deliver the final punch and focus on you, the survivor. We will explore how their panic is your resurrection. We will provide the final closure that you don't need from them. The tone is getting empowering, elevated, and sovereign. The narcissist is trapped in the void, but you are walking into the future. The secret knowledge is about to become your eternal freedom. The thriller is reaching its final act, and the light is coming home. You are the stillness. You are healing. You are the victory. We arrive at the final truth, the punch that shatters the spell and severs the chain forever. The narcissist's panic was never about losing you. It was about losing the reflection of their power in your eyes. They were terrified of your stillness because it denied them the oxygen of dominance. You've realized that the sexual reset was the contract that kept you in bondage. By stopping the reaction, you cancelled the contract unilaterally. You were never the victim, you were the source. You were the battery that powered their mirage. Now that the battery has claimed its own current, the mirage has evaporated. Emotional closure comes from the absolute recognition of their nothingness. You stop waiting for an apology because an apology from a void is just more static. You realize that their panic is the apology of the universe. The secret knowledge is that the narcissist is already dead inside. They are a biochemical ghost wandering through a life they never inhabited. Your healing begins when you stop looking for life in a graveyard. You are alive. They are dust. The stillness you feel is not numbness, it is sovereignty. It is the peace that surpasses the predator's understanding. You are whole. Empowerment is the reclamation of your nervous system. The narcissist tried to colonize your biology to control their value. But you've realized that your value is intrinsic and untouchable. You are a force of nature. You are a soul with substance. You have everything you need inside yourself. The narcissist's weaponized aggression has become your sovereign stillness. You are cleaning the slate. You are washing off the stench of their panic. You are re-entering the light as a diamond that has survived the pressure of the fear cage. You are unbreakable. You are sovereign. You are free. Let's deliver the final truth punch. The narcissist's power was a parasite that died when you stopped providing the host. They are condemned to a life of scavenging. They will spend the rest of their days looking for a flinch in the eyes of strangers. They have discarded the only mirror that showed them as a hero. Now, he or she is alone with the mirror that shows the coward. You are the winner because you refuse to be a scavenger. You chose the depth. You chose the love that they were too small to hold. You are the greatness they could not contain. The cinematic closing is a slow burn of sovereignty. You see the narcissist in the rearview mirror of your life, a small, frantic figure standing in a hallway that is fading into gray. They are screaming at a shadow. They are released into their own void. You are driving into the sunrise. The air is cold and clear. Your heart is open and strong. The trauma bond is smoke in the wind. You have passed the final test. You have walked through the shadow and found the stillness. You are the sovereign of your own breath. You are the author of your own peace. Provide yourself with the final closure that needs no words. It is the silence you feel when they slam the door and you don't even blink. It is the quiet power of a life that has been purged of predatory static. The narcissist's panic is no longer your secret to carry. You have handed the mirror back to the void. You have closed the door on the theater of abuse. You are standing in the open field of your own potential. You are growing. You are evolving. You are transcending the biological submission. You are sovereign. You are home. The final truth is that the predator was always the prey of their own dependency. They were prey to their own emptiness. They were prey to the lie that lust and power could save them from time. You were the only real thing in their world of mirrors. By walking away, you have shattered the hall of mirrors. The narcissist is left with nothing but static. He or she will spend forever trying to provoke a shadow. But the shadow is gone. You have exited the performance. The show is over. The curtain has fallen. You are real, and reality is something they can never inhabit. Think of the survivors watching this right now. We are an army of the awakened. We have seen the locked door. We have heard the heavy footsteps. We have felt the pulse of terror. And we have risen above it. We are the stillness that exposes the predator. We are the truth that shatters the menace. Your healing is the final strike against the narcissistic matrix. Every steady breath you take is a victory over the void. You are leading the way out of the fear cage. You are the light bearer. You are the sovereign spirit. You are the one who stayed true. Let the hypnotic reality of your freedom settle into your bones. The narcissist's panic was the weight you were never meant to carry. You have dropped it in the graveyard of the past. You are moving with the grace of the sovereign. Your energy is returning in waves of golden stillness. You are tuning into the frequency of abundance and love. The narcissist is a static memory on a dead channel. You are the living symphony. You are the masterpiece. You are the stillness that the predator can never disturb again. You are complete. You are powerful. The final, blunt, clinical truth that the narcissist will never realize until the lights go out for the last time. Your stillness was never the silence of a victim, but the roar of a soul that finally realized the predator was a ghost. And now that you have stopped chasing the mirage, they have finally disappeared into the nothingness where they began. The door is open. The light is on. The prisoner has escaped. You are the survivor who refused to be siphoned. You are the sovereign who chose the soul. The bed is cold, but the heart is finally warm. The world is yours. Go live in it.